All right, welcome to the People's Playbook podcast. I'm excited about today. We have our special guest today is Moatassem Moatez, and Mo has had an incredible career. He's done some incredible things. He's been a TEDx speaker. He's the founder and CEO of a company called My Courier. It's a last mile delivery service. He built that in such rapid speed. I think that you're going to be amazed at some of his conversation today. He's worked with brands such as Nestle and Unilever, and he's also the vice chair of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce and was named Entrepreneur of the Year in 2021. So, Mo, welcome to the podcast.
Good morning, Jason. Thank you for having me and thanks for the introduction.
I often say you don't realize how much you've accomplished until you hear an intro like that, right?
Yeah, when you think of it, working on your own business, sometimes you don't get a lot of thank yous and you
Yeah.
don't get a lot of acknowledgement. And it's these conversations when you have, you're like, man, this is a good tap on the back. This is where you're or someone is saying, you know what, good job, keep it going. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Mo, you've had an incredible, let's call it a journey. So, from working for big corporate giants such as Nestle and Unilever, what corporate lessons helped you most at kind of changing gears and becoming a founder and starting your own business?
So I worked with Nestle, I worked with Unilever, and also worked with British American Tobacco. So I was blessed that I worked with companies that had really decent brands. But what I learned there, and I think this is what I took with me across all my journey, was structure. The size of these companies are so big that it has to be structured. They has to have processes, systems, SOPs, all the big things that when you're working, sometimes you're thinking like, do I really need to do this? Do I really need to fill this? Do I have to go through this process? You don't really know the merit of it except when you're outside and now you're having a team and now you're like, yes, you have to do this process and you understand why these companies have built such a system around it.
Yeah, it's amazing when we start our own thing. When you're with a big corporation, and I've had the experience of doing that as well. Sometimes those processes and that structure it frustrates us as entrepreneurs and whatnot. But then when you start your own thing, you think I'm craving structure right now, and
Correct.
I'm craving process because it actually keeps us. We understand what road we need to go down to get to where we're going, right?
Correct, correct. And
Yeah.
I'll just add one thing also for you, Jason, is I never had been an entrepreneur all my life. And even when I was young, I wasn't the type of kid that had postcards and I used to sell it or a lemonade stand or this. I was a very normal, average kid. I studied, I did a bit of an activities, not even competitive. So I never had in my mind these wild things of being an entrepreneur. So when I started working in a corporation, in my mind, it's just, I'm going to be there. That's okay. It's structured or organized. I'm going to be there all my life working on a corporation. But then when opportunities come and things happen, you just start swinging into a different journey or a different entrepreneur. And I'm just sharing this with you because sometimes I get this question is like, do you really need to be an entrepreneur when you're young and you have this drive? And if you didn't really had a lemonade stand when you're young, most probably you're never going to be an entrepreneur. No, no, at all. You can be an average, normal kid and you can be a really successful entrepreneur when you grow. It is an acquired throughout your life type of skill.
Yeah, you learn a lot. And let's actually go back there to your early days at My Career, because I know your work ethic. And during the early days of My Career, you would actually handle the deliveries yourself. How do you think that helped shape your leadership style with managing and leading the team today?
When you do the actual job at the beginning, you really appreciate every single detail in the job. I mean, currently, as we speak, I have 130 people in the organization, and a big chunk of them are delivery associates, which is the drivers, dispatchers, supervisors. It gave me so much empathy to listen to them when I know on a certain day it's super hot, for example, and I ask the team, please give them an extra 30 minutes a break and make sure there is water or Gatorade in the morning to hydrate them. These small little details, I would not have knew it except because I was on the road one day, because I knew how hard it is when it's really hot out there and you need this, whatever, extra 15 minutes in Tim Hortons in a certain shade. So empathy is one important thing that you build when you do the actual job.
Yeah, absolutely. And you only learn it sometimes when you actually put yourself in their shoes. And as opposed to saying, "Hey, I know how you feel," it's, "Hey, I know how you feel. I've done it, right?
100%. But at the same time, Jason, and this is also key, I would never do all the roles in the company. So, for example, I never worked as a bookkeeper. I never worked as an HR. But I
Hmm.
think as a person leading an organization, you need to have basic appreciation.
Yeah,
So even if it meant you shadow a day, even if it meant you ask more questions about behind the scene, not just the results that you're looking for, but how do you do this? Can you run me through this area that you're doing it? The more you understand the backstage, the more as a leader you will have this more empathy. So you don't really need to be doing the job for a long time, but ask the questions of the behind the scene.
yeah, I agree. And it just takes me back when you talk about empathy and you're talking about people. I could just imagine because your business was relatively new when the pandemic hit, right? And
Yes.
how did you use that empathy to influence your vision and what was going on around you at that time of the pandemic for last mile delivery?
So the news for you, Jason, is I had no vision at that time. It just literally started as an opportunity of an online picking up, and there was a pain point where there is no delivery capacity that is able to fulfill it. So in my mind, I was just solving one specific problem, which is how can I have trucks on the road to help this surge that happened in the online? If I would say a vision, my vision was just survive. Just make sure this one first year you survive, you're able to pay your bills, and you're able to still be there. Your head is above the water and you're somehow moving forward. Sometimes you think that you need to really craft every single vision, mission, statement, or it just unfolds as you move forward. Where am I this year? 5 year down the road, it's totally different than where I started. Even in
Sure.
the vision that I was thinking of, I actually think of it. The first part is only survival. Now it's more of scaling,
Yeah.
and the gap between it is what really made this company move forward.
Yeah, it's amazing how when an entrepreneur or a founder gets 80% of the way there and figures out the other 20% along the way, how much more successful we are based on moving with speed as opposed to waiting for it to be 100% right before we move forward, right? I think that slows us down in the marketplace and it actually, we lose pace as opposed to gaining pace. And it sounds, during the pandemic, like you were just, you know, I love what you said. We just had to figure it out basically and move forward, right?
Correct.
Let's talk about moving forward for a second. And you've gone from 0 employees to over 100 employees in less than 2 years. Okay, in just 2 years, basically. Okay, other than growth and revenue, saying, "Hey, we need that." How do you do that? Like, how do you? That's massive growth and massive people coming into your company. So, how do you manage that, and how did you get that all going?
A big part of it is paying the price. And the price I paid on this one is I paid the price of not spending time with the family. I paid the price of sleepless nights, literally sleepless nights. My brain is not shutting down. I'm trying to figure out things as much as I can going forward. But one thing that maybe sometimes is a blessing, Jason, is I call it the beginner's hat because I did not really saw the whole journey in my mind. So I didn't overanalyze things. I took it one step at a time. So the first step was, how can I hire my first couple of drivers? And I'll tell you this story. My first couple of drivers that I hired, I was literally roaming around and I didn't know where to get them from. I was new in the country. I was like, where do you hire drivers in the country? And the only way I did it was I went to one of the plazas. I started ordering Uber. And once the driver comes, I cancel and I give him an offer on the spot. I'm like, how much are you doing on the day? X, I'll do you X plus 20% if you come work for me tomorrow morning. And if you get a friend, I'm going to give you another extra $25. And that's my only way I got my first couple of drivers because I was like, how can I hire them? Where should I do them? And these are people that are on the road already. They already know what is driving in Canada, and most probably they're okay with this sort of job. If I gave them a little bit of a premium, maybe they will take the job, and this is what happened. So figuring out this part at the beginning was just simply trying to put the puzzle together. There is no manual, there is no share folder that someone hands it to you and tell you, here you go, this is how you're going to do it. You're just trying to clear every challenge you have until hopefully Your name is out there, the company reputation is out there, and then you start finding people approaching you, drivers approaching you, staffing agencies, recruitment agencies. This is where then you start adding up and you put your process in.
Yeah. That is thinking outside the box if I've ever heard of thinking outside of the box on how to get to somebody and actually having them come pick you up, canceling the ride and offering them a job on the spot. Right. That's
Yeah.
a phenomenal story. Let's go to
My
how
recruitment fees there was $10 the cancellation of Uber. This is my recruitment fees for them.
yeah, and you probably your star system went down too. They thought this guy always cancels
This guy
rides.
is a disaster, but what can we do? It's okay. It's okay. I'll bring it back up.
I love it. So you started small, and now think of this: you're actually you've built a business over two continents now. So what is one of the cultural mindset sets or shifts that surprised you running a business in two different cultures?
My initial work was in the Middle East, and then moving here in Canada, where I structured my career. I'll tell you the difference is Middle East is more emotional. We
Okay,
deal with the heart more than anything. If you don't click with the person, business is not going to move forward. And
okay,
this is why it takes a lot of time to really understand the person, to understand their hobbies, the things that they like, the things that they don't like. Do you have common friends? This part is sometimes the 70%, and then 30% is let's start thinking of the proposal itself and how can we build a decent proposal. I think in the West, in Canada, is actually the opposite. So it's more as get your proposal, get your facts right, get your qualitative work right. And then after this, the relationship with the people will start growing. Especially when you work with companies that are big enough, you don't have one specific person because people move around in the organization, people move around within different companies. So your relationship becomes more with the company rather than just with a specific individual that is there. I would say it took me a while to really unlearn this and relearn again the culture. And at the beginning, it was a bit difficult for me because I thought that it's all about relationships. I mean, we pick up the phone, we chat for half an hour, and then after this, we build a relationship and we go from there.
sure.
But it's not this. It's because they don't know you yet. They don't know what you have. So you need to show first your value, and then after this, cherry over the cake if your personality is nice and they enjoy a talk with you.
Yeah. How, if you had to give your opinion on what was more difficult, starting the business in the Middle East or starting the business in the Western Hemisphere?
I would say here is not difficult, but it takes more time.
Okay.
The first 3 years, your value in the country is not yet seen. Nobody knows you. Vendors don't know you, clients don't know you, partners don't know you, banking don't know you, no one knows you.
Yeah.
And also to add to it is because Canada is a country where it attracts a lot of immigrants,
Yeah.
it's very easy for people to come here. They start a business and they say, you know what, we'll try out. So the system itself understand that the failure rate of business starting is very high because
Yeah.
people would just start it for the sake of let me try out. So your first 3 years are super crucial to really show the value that you have in this market. And I think being able to move around in these 3 years with your savings a bit, with your creative ways of hiring, creative ways of getting vendors, you might pay a little bit more than the normal. All these are things that unfortunately you pay for until you get this reputation in place.
Yeah. It's funny, you said a key word there, a key phrase, and you said 3 years. And there's an actual stat that says most businesses, when you start out, don't last past the 3 year mark, right? That's usually the, hey, we're quitting. We can't do this anymore. It's too much on ourselves or our families. And we go do something else, right?
Right.
So I want you to think of that. Most businesses don't last like more than 3 years. But then you built my career in a one business of the year, right?
Mm.
So, what do you think made it stand out so quickly?
I would say beside the hard work that we have there, one thing that is important is speak about your business. So
Hmm.
I was not shying to really speak about the business, even when it was still at the beginning and we didn't have a huge, fleet or a huge number of people. I was not shy to say, you know what, we're here. and this is what we do, and this is what we can take on board. I tell people sometimes asking is 80% of the job. Just ask. Ask the client if you want to work with them. Ask a vendor if you want them to work. So ask. And I think at that time, I didn't shy away to really ask, and opportunities did come from there. The other thing that really helped is I'm in an industry that is very much a commodity. I mean, when you think of it, shipping is, and I have to give it to Amazon, is that they spoil people that now you think shipping is always for free, but it's not
Yeah.
for free. I mean, you go and check out, and then you see this button is, should you get it in 2 days for free, or you want to pay, I don't know, $6 and you get it tomorrow? Everyone, myself, 2 days, it's okay. We get it for free, but it's not for free. Someone is going to be squeezed down this chain, and most probably it's the delivery company at the end that is like, let's squeeze everything out of them. But just to put it in perspective, having some sort of clarity on what do you have that is unique gives you an edge. Our uniqueness is not that we have a van and a driver and we're able to deliver. Our uniqueness is how fast can we coach a driver when a mistake happens on the road. The systems we created that takes from the on-road KPIs to the driver coaching is so fast to a level that we don't wait a week until the same mistake could be repeated. And I think this is where companies that are big enough and enterprise, they start looking at quality delivery and they start looking at this coaching. And we were able to position ourselves in this sort of area. Even our slogan is called always delivering. So we
Yeah.
deliver in all the matrices.
Yeah. What a story. You've had the privilege of speaking on the TEDx stage. And if you go back to that moment and you think about, speaking there, what message do you feel most compelled to share to the audience?
The whole talk was about passion. And it's not about, and this is where the trick, remember when I told you that I never started as an entrepreneur, and when I was young, I didn't have any passion somewhere. I don't think that passion is something that you're born with. I think passion is something that you build throughout. I'll give you a small example. I never worked in logistics. I started this company 5 years ago. My passion now is last mile and logistics. It's not because I was born logistics, it's because I saw results. And I think the moment you start something and you start getting some sort of validation and results, it becomes innate in you. You feel really the drive for it. Anything, a business, a working out, talking, whatever it is. And the TED talk that I did was what is the steps that you would see a small little hobby or some idea and how that it moves from this hobby all the way until it becomes a real passion that you put in your time, your effort, and your thoughts around it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think passion fuels so much, right? And a very, important person said to me once, belief fuels passion and passion rarely fails, right? So if you actually believe in something, that fuels the passion, and passion, it's amazing where passion takes us. And when we can, use that passion as a fuel to get to where we want to go, whether it's business, whether it's family, whatever, right? It just gets us to a different place, right?
100%. But the point here, Jason, is don't wait until you search for your passion. Your passion is something that you will unlock as you move. Search for the idea, search for this one action, and eventually it will build as a passion. And once it becomes a passion, this is where it becomes a fuel for endless of jumping hurdles.
Yeah, and I love when you say that, don't search, just you're basically saying just start something, right? Take
Yes.
action, start, right? And then as you start, you learn along the way.
Yeah.
How have you inspired people as an entrepreneur during the tough moments? So, one, how do you inspire yourself during the tough moments, and how do you inspire others during the times where you're just like, wow, there's a bit of a glitch here, or we've hit a bump in the road, or how do you keep the team and yourself inspired along the way?
We cry together. No, I'm kidding. group group therapy, and we all cry together.
Exactly.
So, what inspired me is having peer groups. I mean, like together we're in a peer group, so a peer group helps a lot because most probably the mistake you're doing or the challenge you have, you're not alone. Someone have fell in the same thing, and it just gives comfort that when you hear that there's a solution for it or someone have found a solution, would it fit you or would not? That's something else. The other thing is having someone in your life that you're comfortable to chat with. In my life, the person I'm comfortable to chat with is my wife. She's a life coach already. So this is where sometimes I go back to our home and I'm like, where's the couch? Couch quickly. We need to chat. I need to chat. I need to offload. And it's good when you have someone that you can offload to and feeling comfortable that they will not judge you, feeling
Yeah.
comfortable that they understand. Are you in an action mode? So do you want to hear an action, or are you more of just venting and getting everything out from there? So this is the second part. Find the person. It could be a friend, it could be a partner, it could be a business coach, whatever it is that you're comfortable to chat with, and they will never shut the door for you. And then the last one is having your own growth and development in your hand. I mean, I always invest in going for a certain conference, a certain seminar, a certain course. These investments, they're not straightforward. It's not like you're going to have a return on investment on the spot, but it adds up. You get some sort of nuggets from each one of them that one day it will just pop up and then be like, okay, I remember I took this like whatever 3 years ago, and it's now the time for it to come into action.
Yeah. It's amazing what you said there too is, sometimes when you talk to somebody, I had one friend talk to me once and sorry, I was talking to him about some things and he said to me, he said, "Do you want me to speak or do you want me to just listen?"
Love it.
And it really took me back because at that time I just needed him to listen,
Mm.
right? And then of course, I let him speak, right? But he really just sat back and listened to what I had to say before he knew I was ready for a comment from him.
I love it. And sometimes you don't know about it except when he asked you. I mean, now
Yeah,
I'm thinking of it. I might not know when if someone asked me, I'm like, man, this is a good question. Maybe it's a
yeah,
listen through. Yeah. So yeah,
yeah,
I liked it.
yeah. Sometimes they just want some ears to listen to what they
Yes.
say, and that makes the world of a difference. You're
True.
very balanced. And when I think of your balance and think of everything you're doing, how do you actually balance being a founder and a CEO at My Courier, but also being at the Chamber of Commerce in Oakville? Sorry.
Vice chair.
Yeah,
So I don't think it's more of balance, it's more as a harmony. It just needs to somehow they all fit together.
yeah,
So I don't do things that are totally opposite to each other. So
yeah,
you'll notice that in a way, the chamber does fuel also my development, does fuel the part that I enjoy, which is the community, speaking with other business and founders. I look at it as a completion of the same journey that I have. The other part that also is important is after a while, you start learning how to say no.
yeah,
I didn't have this before. I used to say yes, 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 and I always in my mind, I'll find a way, I'll find a way. I reached to a level now that I'm comfortable to say I'll pass. It's okay.
yeah,
I don't have to have the FOMO. I can pass. I can pass on this uh, uh, gathering that's happening, unfortunately, because I have something else, or I can pass on a certain meal because I have whatever diet I'm on right now, or I'm gonna pass on a certain night out because I have tomorrow morning an early workout. So I feel comfortable on understanding the priorities now, and I think maybe it comes by age that you become more clear on your priorities and you start saying yes to the things that helps you and no to the things that doesn't add.
yeah. That's so powerful, right? Mo, just a couple more questions because you've been so generous with your time. I think I know the answer to this, but I just want to hear it from you. So when you founded My Courier, you did that just months after moving to Canada. Okay. What gave you the confidence to move and launch that so quickly?
So I moved to Canada in 2019, August 2019, and my career was structured or registered in July 2020. So I would say almost a year from moving in. Uh, I'll tell you a couple of things that helped. One, when you're looking for survival, you really push through. I mean, when people say you go rock bottom and there's nothing to lose and you just push through, I think this really I saw it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
The second thing is when an opportunity comes, you don't overthink about it. I didn't really overthought about it. I saw and I don't know if I told you the story. I picked up the phone, I called the grocery store next to my place, and I asked them for a delivery for items, and they said, we have zero delivery capacity. Come pick up your stuff. And this was the moment I had a light bulb. I was like, man, most probably he's not the only one that has a problem of delivery. How about I check it out? And I literally applied as a delivery driver in one of the companies. I worked there for 3 months, just understanding it. So you look at an opportunity and you roll up your sleeve and you say, I'll try it out. And I think the last thing which made me move from this driver to say I can have a company is it's good when you have also self-awareness and you understand what are you good at, or at least where is your experience in. I mean, for example, I'm not an accountant. I'm not going to be able to open an accounting firm right away,
Yeah.
but I'm good in operation. I might be able to manage an operation of a delivery. So this is where understanding your own experience and just drafting down, I'm good at that, and these are the things that I'm not that good. And this gave me confidence that I have the operation background, I have the commercial background. I might not have the logistics background, but I can learn it. And I jumped in.
Jumped in.
And I
So
jumped in.
actually, great segue to my last question, Mo. If you and let's be honest, people go to you for a lot of advice, and you're probably a mentor to many. But if you could give newcomers to the country a piece of advice on how to build something on their own, how would that advice look, and what would you say to them?
Four things. I would say you need to really settle mentally because a lot of people would come in and their expectations of the timeline of how things will go is much faster than reality. And if they don't see results in the first couple of months, they lose hope. They're like, man, it didn't work. I'm not seeing things moving. So, one is yes, you came here physically, but if your mind is not in the country and you're still comparing with another old life that you had and your other friends, you're always going to be in a struggle. Because when you come here, you start literally from line zero again. So, one, settle your mind. The second one is unlearn to relearn. Be comfortable to say, I don't know. Be comfortable that if someone sits with you that might be younger than you with lots of years, but had been in the business or in the country for a while, they might be teaching you something new, despite you might have 20 years of experience somewhere else. But again, they know the country, learn from them. So be comfortable with being the student. The third one is build your reputation. That's the most key thing. I know lots of people think of their credit score and this, all these are papers. What's even more important is your online and the way people see you reputation. It's not the papers and the things. All these are things that great to have, but build a reputation as the way you want people to deal with you. Either you are respected, you're professional, you're structured, you're organized, you're trustworthy. Put forward the values that you want the country to see you in. And the last one I would say is prove your value. People do business when you're able to add value for them. You're coming to a country, you have a value. You already did the hardest part. It's one-way ticket coming here. Show the value, be consistent in showing this value. Eventually, the puzzle does fit and you will have a wonderful Canva.
Wow, Mo, absolutely amazing advice. And I would actually add to that. I don't think that's just advice for somebody new coming to Canada. I think that's advice for the younger generation or just people wanting to get out of a rut and start something new. I think that is an absolutely crucial piece of advice and extremely well said. With that, you've been more than generous with your time today. I appreciate you coming on that. I appreciate you and what you've done, and I appreciate what you do for your team. Great leaders are hard to find, and I always say leadership's a privilege, right? It's a privilege
Correct.
to be a good leader in somebody's life. We all remember the great leaders that we've had. We also remember the bad leaders we've had, unfortunately, right? So continue doing what you're doing. Thanks for being a great leader, and I wish you nothing but the best, and thanks for coming on the show today.
Love it, Jason, and thank you very much. You're really making a difference also in the world. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Mo. If you loved that session and that conversation as much as I did, would love to have you join our People Playbook community in the link below.